Thank you all so much for attending and showing solidarity with us this evening. The enchanting melody echoing through the gardens belonged to a moving operatic piece called Distant Lullaby. Based on lived experience, Distant Lullaby underscores the power of art in conveying narratives, even those we wish we did not have to tell. We thank Linda Kovaris, Cody Green, Linda Barkin and Haig Burnell for providing us with this captivating piece. Before we get started, allow me to please share some housekeeping matters. There are bathrooms located behind us in the Treasury Gardens. Please walk along the path over to my left and go instead of using the front area. We are taking photos and media are present this evening. If you don't feel comfortable with that, please go to the meeting point at the edge of the gardens and collect a yellow sticker from one of our helpers in purple. If you haven't already picked up a candle from our designated area, I kindly request that you please do that now and keep your candle unlit for the time being. As we begin tonight's vigil, I ask that you direct your attention to our proceedings. Firstly, please join me in welcoming Auntie Joy, a good friend of Safe Steps who is welcoming us to country, and Craig, who will be performing the smoking ceremony.
Thanks very much. Returning to this spot over the past few years has certainly been a moment that we will always remember, and I hope a continual vigil here will take place, not only here in Victoria but across all states and territories. I would like to begin tonight by paying my condolences to all of our women and our children, their families, their pets, where their lives have been taken, and that we will honour and treasure them always. I'd like to also acknowledge all ancestors, elders and communities across this great nation and neighbouring islands, and particularly to those of our families that we so tragically, their lives taken very unnecessarily, much abuse, much torture, and we carry that scar and always will. So we share very deeply with any loss of human life, and when human life is so degraded and human rights taken from them. Could I each and every one of you acknowledge you, your family and your community, and particularly send my love and best wishes to those who are healing at the moment, and know that we stand strong beside you as First Nations people. Could I also acknowledge our Premier, Jacinda Allen, for the wonderful work that she does as a woman, and who is truly committed in every which way to what her job stands for. To Minister Dreyfus, thank you for being here tonight. It's a real pleasure to have the federal government stand beside our Victorian community. To all other distinguished guests, and especially to Safe Steps, it is my absolute honour and my son to spend this time with you and just share and to grieve with you, but also honour and protect you and those that will follow. I just wanted to say a couple of things tonight that, you know, when we have a vigil, we talk about those things that are just right in front of our face. But as we know, there are too many things that are in the background of why many things happen. And like for our women are 7.6 times more likely to die from murder, to die from domestic violence than any non-Indigenous woman. And yet we're the minority. So, you know, there is underlying factors that we need to address. There's a mental health system, problems, the issues. There are all those issues where families can't keep their families, men can't keep their families together. And we know that in our community, because I now as a woman have to take that place where I am today. But it is about our strength and our resilience, and we need to be brave. And, you know, courage is sometimes a hard thing, but if we're just going to stand here, sit here tonight, talk about, think about what we might do, what intervention, how we do it, well, and not take action, then we'll be here for another 100 years to come and nothing will change. We as the First Nation peoples encourage you to stand as strong as we have with the spirits of our ancestors and know that each and every day, each of us is unique, each of us should be loved and each of us should trust each other. Of course, with ceremony, it's about how we can bring that life of spirit together again, and which my son is doing again with the balm bearing. The smoking, of course, is about that another new beginning. And there's nothing wrong with having another new beginning. There's always something we face every day. So I please invite you at some time during ceremony, whenever you feel, at the end of ceremony, if you'd like to come in and take in that cleansing, please do so. And also as our gift to you, there will be the branches of the gum leaf of whom we are. And we ask you to accept this gift. And we thank you. We thank you for the inclusion, because we have been left out of not only ceremonial practices, but our standing in community is who we are. And as I get older, and not so many of our women get older in our community, then we know that we're on a road to recovery and healing. Thank you so much for having us here tonight, and may we all prosper from why we are here and what we are about to receive. Waminjaka, Wurundjeri Balak, Yemin Kundi Bek, and you are most welcome to the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri Wurrung people. Notchkamwa, thank you.
Thank you, Arnie, Joy and Craig, for that beautiful welcome to country. My name is Chelsea Tobin and I'm the CEO of Safe Steps Family Violence Response Centre. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land of which we meet today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I pay my respects to elders past and present and all my Aboriginal and First Nations colleagues in the room today, on the grass today. On behalf of everyone at Safe Steps, I would like to acknowledge, and it's quite a long list, so bear with me for a moment, but I would like to acknowledge the Premier Jacinta Allen for joining us today, Vicky Ward, the Minister for Prevention of Family Violence and the Minister for Employment, the Honourable Mark Dreyfus, the Attorney General and Member for Isaac, Kat Theonosis, I think I have said that wrong, I'm very sorry, the Member for Northcote, Dr Samantha Ratman, the Leader of the Victorian Greens, the Honourable Judge Mercury, Deputy Chief Judge and the Federal and Family Circuit Court of Australia, Peter Cahill, MP and Federal Member for Wills, Zoe Daniels, MP and Federal Member for Goldstein, Fiona McCormack, the Victims of Crime Commissioner, Lauren Callaway, the Assistant Commissioner of Victoria Police, my fellow CEOs in the sector, supporters of the sector, but most importantly, to survivors, to advocates, family and friends who join us this evening. Welcome on behalf of Safe Steps. We're here tonight to pay our respects to those people who have been killed by family violence. We're here to remember them, to honour them, and to stand with those who love them. Tonight we shine a light on the tragic incidents of family and domestic violence, including the recent murders that deeply affected all our communities. And tonight we hold space for and honour all people who are lost to family and domestic violence, of which there are just way too many. We acknowledge at Safe Steps that family and domestic violence takes many forms, and its victims are people from all genders, sexes, sexualities and ages. It can happen in different types of intimate relationships, and we're here to honour all of those who have died as a result of family violence. We are committed to a safe and inclusive practice at Safe Steps. I want everyone to know here that some of the content tonight may be distressing. Please take care and reach out if you need to. I'm not going to compete with the motorbike on this important message, so I'll give it a sec. We want everyone here to feel very safe and welcomed. So we have some counsellors on site tonight. So if you want to debrief or have a chat at any stage, you will find them seated under the tree that is lit up in purple to my right, and they are holding purple flowers and the glow sticks. You can also contact Safe Steps 24/7, 365 days a year from anywhere in Victoria. We will believe you and we will help you to safety. You can also go to one of your local orange doors in all the local government areas, or you can call 000 for support or 1-800-RESPECT. I'd also like to let Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people know that there may be some images and discussions of people who have died. I must welcome and thank those who tonight are bravely sharing their stories and memories of their loved ones. And I welcome and thank Farah Mack, who will be guiding proceedings for tonight. For a number of years, Farah has contributed her time, her energy, and her lived experience to continue to advocate for victim survivors, and we're very grateful she's here with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea, for your steadfast dedication to ending domestic and family violence and for your invaluable support for all individuals affected by this urgent national crisis. Tonight, we unite in solidarity at the Family Violence Memorial Garden, shared with the Forced Adoption Memorial, Taken Not Given. This serene space, nestled in the heart of the city, symbolises the profound significance victims of domestic and family violence hold in our hearts. Renowned journalist and femicide researcher Sherelle Moody discloses that this year 34 Australian women and 4 children have tragically lost their lives, with many of those counted falling victim to domestic and family violence. These figures only represent those officially recorded, leaving the true toll likely higher, and we are only in the first day of May. Devastatingly, the rate of women killed by domestic and family violence in Australia has surged to 1 in every 4 days. The relentless escalation of these numbers, increasing daily, is heartbreaking and almost impossible to comprehend. In 2023 alone, over 60 women were tragically taken from their families and loved ones. The alarming rise in fatalities due to domestic and family violence compared to the same period last year raises urgent questions. Why has the number increased? And how is this crisis worsening? Throughout the Candlelight Vigil and beyond, we stand united to remember and honour the person behind the number. I am Farah Mack, founder of the Self-Worth Movement, a survivor of domestic violence, and a steadfast advocate for strengthening self-worth in victim survivors. Tonight, let's envision and strive for a future where love triumphs over hate, safety prevails over fear, and all can live free from violence. My personal mission is to empower survivors to reclaim their self-worth and create a world where every woman and child feels safe, loved, and valued. No words, labels, or titles can ever truly define who we are, but I hope that the words I share tonight provide solace and empathy. I know what it is to be broken, bruised, and belittled by a person who simply should have shown love. I understand what it feels like to lose your sense of self-worth and get caught up in the web of control of an abuser. It is from my own lived experience of enduring domestic violence that I offer you my deepest empathy, compassion, and wholehearted care. I hope that my journey and steadfast dedication to creating lasting change will light the way for others, leading them from darkness and fear to healing and hope. Like many here tonight, I have a story to share, and by sharing our stories, we can inspire transformative change, bringing light, solutions, and hope to all. Martin Luther King once profoundly said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." These words serve as a beacon of inspiration, urging us to transcend the narrative of violence, trauma, and tragedy. Instead, let us rewrite the storyline with themes of love, hope, and light. Together, we have the power to uncover and implement solutions for change. Family and domestic violence, as we know, affects all people from all walks of life and often takes on many forms that are not always physical. On behalf of everyone at Safe Steps, we want to ensure that you know that support is available, as Chelsea said, at any time of day or night, 24/7, 365 days a year. Please reach out if you or anyone you know is experiencing or perpetrating family violence. As I'm sure you're all aware, there has been a surge of advocates speaking out against men's violence. Collectively, we are calling for change. We are feeling exhausted, depleted, angry, and overwhelmed by the escalating crisis and the heartbreaking number of women being killed in our country. We know these deaths can be prevented, and we urgently need systemic reform to address it. While the Candlelight Vigil underscores this crisis, tonight is about humanising the issue. It is a moment to take time for reflection, healing, and to offer hope to everyone impacted by domestic and family violence. We gather tonight to honour and remember those whose lives have been taken because of domestic and family violence. My heart goes out to all the families and friends of people who have lost a loved one at the hands of someone who should have loved them. Your voice holds immense importance. Your story is significant. You are valued and deserving of compassion. Tonight we stand united to illuminate candles in remembrance and honour loved ones who lost their lives because of domestic and family violence. The ritual of lighting a candle to honour the life of a loved one has long been a part of history. Candle lighting in remembrance signifies our loved one's memory burning bright and living on through us. Their essence shines on in our hearts as a glowing memory. Can I ask you all now to please ignite the light on your candle, symbolising the essence of our loved ones. We understand that the profound reach of domestic and family violence affects everyone. Throughout Melbourne tonight and in regions across Victoria, buildings and landmarks are aglow with shades of purple, serving as a poignant tribute to lives lost to domestic and family violence. We honour, cherish, and remember them. Through the purpling of Victoria, we unite to raise awareness of the enduring and far-reaching consequences of domestic and family violence. Together, we commit to being a part of the solution, empowering our children and young adults with education and prevention tools, and striving to eradicate domestic and family violence for future generations. To all of the family and friends who have lost a loved one, may the radiant light of your loved one continue to illuminate your path and shine bright within you. Remember, you are never alone, and support is always available to guide you through the difficult days. Your presence here carries immense power, capable of igniting a ripple effect that fosters change and leaves a lasting impact. Preventing this violence is a collective responsibility, starting with open conversations and sharing our stories. These dialogues, when grounded in compassion, are crucial in challenging outdated stereotypes, systems, and harmful beliefs. Ending domestic and family violence is a duty shared by all, but it's particularly crucial for those in positions of influence. I urge every politician, law enforcement official, educator, and influential individual to actively listen to advocates, activate action immediately, and leverage your authority for the greater good. You have the potential and capability to disrupt the cycle of violence and ultimately to save lives. Can we now please all shift our focus to our speakers for this evening, inspiring individuals who have tragically lost a loved one, and those with first-hand experience of domestic and family violence. Boyd, Rivka and Katie will generously share their experiences, memories and hopes with us all. I'd like to welcome Boyd to the stage.
Thank you. I'm just going to go a bit off script. My granddaughter wanted me to hold this up that she used at the rally. And if you can't read it, it says, "Mummy, I miss you." So I'm just going to put that out the front here. Every day should be a family violence-free day. Every day should be violence-free for all women and children. Every day, women and children should feel safe in their own homes. Our daughter, Katie, was a loving mother, sister, granddaughter and daughter. She loved being a mother. She would take such pride in her children, a love of shopping for them, always having them looking cute. She got compliments everywhere they went. She chose to go back to work to be able to provide for them and set up a future. At the age of 29, she had her life brutally taken away in her own home by the one who was supposed to protect her. Yet another preventable death. Why, as a society, are we so appalled by murder of a woman by a stranger, but not by family violence murders? Why was my daughter's life considered less valuable because she was murdered by an intimate partner? Murder is murder. Abuse is abuse, no matter the victim or perpetrator. If we view them differently, we are complicit in seeing victims of family violence as contributing to the situation that they find themselves in. I once was given the analogy that a female killed by a stranger is like a shark attack. Everyone is up in arms. There's vigils and there's protests. A domestic violence homicide is just like the road toll. People just accept it and move on to the next piece of news. I don't accept it and never will. How could I? Seeing the pain of my grandchildren have to endure from such a young age, it is for them I do this work. Their story started with a loving, caring mum. Then someone decided to change the script in an act of cowardice and entitlement. It is left up to us to guide them through life without her. Left up to us to explain, comfort, support them. They are the ones who got the life sentence. Katie has missed so much. Many milestones, like her son's first basketball and football games, grade 6 graduation, her daughter's first steps, first words, first day of kinder, school, swimming lessons and dance class. She missed her siblings' 21st birthdays, being an auntie to her sister's children. That is one person missing all those things. Now what have we all missed? Katie's presence was always felt. She was loud, funny, and had a unique way of describing the world, like saying she didn't do nature or tenting. Katie's children missed all the same things she missed. They don't have those memories ever. They didn't get to have their mum present at all their big occasions, nor the small everyday things like a cuddle on the couch, shopping dates, mini golf or a holiday. No memories of good times or the bad. They will never get to discuss their first romance or their first job with Katie. And she will never see them turn 21, walk down the aisle or have their own children. So much was taken from all of us in one evil act. Until society as a whole starts to take a stand, until everyone is educated in the existence and red flags of family violence and coercive control, we won't make the progress needed to stamp it out. It needs everyone on board, calling it out and not accepting it in any form. Changes and additions to coercive control laws are needed. How else can we stop things before they escalate too far? How often have you heard victims saying they report feeling unsafe and the police say they can't do anything until they assault you? We need proof. In my daughter's case, that may have been a very small window of intervention. Maybe minutes or seconds. We need to put laws in place that mean police don't have their hands tied behind their backs when attending a family violence call. Changes to policy and legislation take time, but we are all able to adapt and change if we put our minds to it. We should be able to use our own networks and connections to make change. Word of mouth through society and community can be very powerful. Looking out for your mates is what this country is known for. It takes all of us to make change. We live in fear every day of what the world is going to be like for our grandkids. It is getting worse. We fear a killer that didn't know why he did it being released. All we want to do is protect them from the horrors of our society. After what they and the rest of our family has been through, we should be at least entitled to that. 10 years on, we still remember Luke Batty. 6 years on, we still remember our Katie Haley. And in the years that come, we will remember Hannah Maguire and many more continually are tragically taken. Yet it is preventable. I can't save Katie, but I can stop others from having to grieve the same horrible situation my family and I have had to. My advocacy can help people. It already has. It can save lives. The same can be said of anyone who chooses to say, I don't accept family violence and I will call it out. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rivka. I'm passionate about community and family health. Thank you for having me speak here today. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to the elders past and present and all First Nation peoples here today. We come together to honor the memory of those that were killed due to family violence. I have no words that offer comfort for deaths that should never have happened. Instead, I speak to the families, friends, and communities that are here today. If you can, please continue to share the stories of your loved ones who did not survive family violence. Sharing your stories matters. Sharing your stories helps families and saves lives. I stand before you today due to the courage and voice of a father whom you just heard from, Boyd, whose daughter was tragically murdered by her partner. He shared the story of his daughter, Katie, on SBS. He spoke about coercive control, an unfathomable murder weapon, and a young life that was cut short by her controlling partner. I listened to Katie's story at a critical point in my experience. There was so much familiarity within Katie's story to my own. Due to Boyd sharing the harrowing experience of losing Katie, it gave me a chance to survive. There are people living unsafely in their home. Hearing the story of loved ones can save their life. I'm awed at those family members and friends who continue to be the voice of those who were tragically killed. Sharing your story is a selfless act that brings trauma and grief. It is my hope that you understand its impact on families who need it most to get them to safety. I speak now to community. I ask you to listen and learn from those stories of those that did not survive. Educate yourself on how to recognize, respond, and refer those experiencing violence. Every child deserves to live in a loving and kind home. We live day in and day out with loved ones in our homes Home is a place that's meant to be secure and safe. When a breach of safety happens in a home repeatedly in cycles of family abuse, there's a shock and disbelief, as community wants to believe it happens elsewhere. My ask of community is to recognize this cognitive dissonance. Family violence happens in every community, and you can speak up for people who may not be able to articulate their experience. Refer people to Safe Steps and other family violence services. They are the experts in this area. In the short term, whilst leaving, it is highly unsafe, but life gets better for the survivor. You can be a support for someone if you can recognize family violence, respond with compassion, and refer them to services such as Safe Steps. Lastly, I speak to service providers, particularly Safe Steps. There is hope. It reminds me of the story of an older man and a younger man walking along the beach in the early morning, where there were starfishes that were washed up on the shore. The young man was picking up the starfish and flinging the starfish into the sea. The older man asked him why he was doing this, and the answer was that the stranded starfish would die if left in the morning sun. The older man said, "But the beach goes on for many kilometers, and there are millions of starfish. How can your effort make any difference?" The young man looked at the starfish in his hands, and he said, "It makes a difference to this one," and then threw the starfish into the safety of the waves. At the time when I reached out to Safe Steps, I held the false belief that everything was my fault. I was terrified and feeling unworthy of their support. The kindness and expertise of the Safe Steps responder helped me to understand my situation further so that I could safely leave and finally provide for my children a loving and kind home. At the most difficult times, I made a promise to myself that if I survive, then one day I would give back to the services that supported me. Thank you, Safe Steps, for having me here this evening so that I could come through with that promise. In summary, I honor the memories of those that were tragically killed to family and gender-based violence. Sharing your stories matters and saves lives. I call on communities to recognize family violence, respond, and refer those in need to Safe Steps and other services. From the depths of my heart, I thank the organizations such as Safe Steps for the work they do to support families to safety and to begin healing to prevent intergenerational violence. I commit to continue to be a voice for those living unsafely in their homes and for those that were killed and no longer have a voice. Thank you.
Women who have died by family violence are here tonight in our hearts and minds. The murdered Victorian women in this Tree of Light sculpture, Vicky, Joy, Adriana, Rakaya, Katie, Nicole and Caitlin, are like beings of light gathering with us in the dark. They are shining through us as we remember them. Their light is a torch guiding our advocacy. Bereaved advocates at a Safe Steps Vigil inspired me to create this Tree of Light. As they stood together in the dark, I saw them light up while describing the uniqueness of their loved ones, the horror of their deaths, and the quest to end family violence. I imagine stories about these women were growing like branches of light, reaching out into the world. I hoped memories of them would become rooted in our hearts. While listening to these advocates, I felt that their love Our love had no limits. It is a love which never dies, never dims, and shines perpetually. It is a love we are compelled to share as victim survivors. Children who have been murdered and maimed by family violence are also here tonight. Some are in our hearts and minds, and others are standing among us. Their presence reminds us that they are victims in their own right with long-term recovery needs. I made the second sculpture, the child sculpture titled The Heart of Life, to honour Katie Haley's children, and 2 boys who were born in Victoria just 2 years apart. They never met. One spoke out and one could not. One died and one lived. 11-year-old Luke Batty was murdered 10 years ago by his father at cricket training. My son was maimed by child abuse and family violence perpetrated by his father. Both boys were failed by services which did not act on evidence of coercion and control. After 15 years of abuse, my son could bear no more and ran away. He is now interstate, in the shadows of society, disengaged from education, work, and hobbies. He has received no therapeutic care and is frozen in time by memories that prevent him from contacting me. These innocent children were victims of suburban warfare, waged by angry fathers who used them as weapons of torture. They tortured the mothers through acts of intimate partner terrorism. Luke's dad deliberately inflicted a life sentence of traumatic grief upon Rosie Batty. My son's father sabotaged my parenting. Mother-child sabotage is a corrosive form of coercive control that literally tears people apart. When I look at the child sculpture, I first see a child holding yellow flowers, Luke's favourite colour, and I think of Rosie, who embodies hope for survivors. Luke enjoyed sport, so there's a ball there for him. And then when I stand back from that child sculpture, I notice the height. I remember my son, aged 3.5, standing between me and his father saying, "Dada, no hurt mama." My toddler, with a heart of gold, tried to protect me while I was trying to protect him. In the dark, this sculpture's heart glows, and it reminds me that deep down my son once knew he was loved by me. These sculptures share a clear message about murdered and maimed women and children. They call us to be beacons of light, illuminating family violence, the dangers and the solutions. 100,000 Australians rallied on the weekend, standing in solidarity with we victim survivors and the dead. They said the murder of 28 women in the past 4 months is a national emergency, which calls for immediate action by all of us. We must hold hope as we rise from rallies to actions, and we must follow the light on the horizon. This year, the Allen government is developing a new way of assessing child family violence risks. This month, the Albanese government is introducing new laws to give children experiencing family violence a stronger voice in the family court. In 2 weeks, Victoria's Bayside Peninsula Integrated Family Violence Partnership will hold a children and young people's reform seminar for 150 child practitioners. In 9 days, Safe and Equal will launch a Home Safe campaign showing all Victorians how to help women and children in danger. Federal Cabinet met today and put us at the top of their action list. Now, more than ever, we must all stand together with victim survivors and hold the light. Thank you.
Boyd, I cannot even begin to imagine the pain and anguish you have endured from losing your Katie. I am so sorry. We stand by you in honouring her memory, committed to keeping her light shining bright and her story alive. Rivka and Katie, your courage and advocacy is profound and truly inspiring. Thank you all for sharing your stories. Thank you for ensuring that your loved ones are remembered and honoured, and for shining a light to dispel darkness and guide a way to a path to prevention. In a world often overshadowed by violence, we each have the power to be a beacon of light and inspire hope through our stories and our actions. But for now, let's honour those that we have lost. If you all feel comfortable, I would like to invite everyone to please close your eyes for a moment, and if possible, place your hand over your heart space. Now take in a big, deep, serene breath. And as you exhale, let go of any pain or grief you may be holding on to. Allow the rhythm of your own breath to just flow and be present in this moment. Envision your beautiful inner light, radiant, comforting and warm, shining so brilliantly that it brightens the world around you. Imagine this light surrounding your loved ones. Visualize a world free from domestic and family violence. Let us pause for 1 minute silence in remembrance. We thank the Victorian Police Pipe Band, and in particular Christine, who is our piper tonight, for that captivating and moving performance. I would now like to share a poem with you written by Donna Ashworth called Your Light. It's never easy to say goodbye or come to terms with reasons why. It's hard to stick without the glue or face a day that's without you. But you would say, don't cry, don't cry. Don't linger on the reasons why. You would say, look up, I'm here. And sure enough, we'd see you clear. Twinkling fiercely in the night, your light still there, your light still bright. To all who have died because of family violence, we remember you, we love you, and we will honour you. As we draw this evening to a close, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for joining us, for listening and standing in solidarity. For those who wish to share their personal written messages, I invite you to follow our speakers and contribute to the memorial wall over there under the umbrellas alongside Katie's beautiful artwork. Additionally, you may place a yellow flower in the arms or at the feet of the child sculpture. Thank you all once again for being a part of this gathering.